Hi, I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and I just want to show you how to make a fun card really fast this evening. I haven't made this version of this card yet, so we're going to see how it goes. Hopefully it turns out really well. So the idea for this card came from one that I made for a card class years ago. I was cleaning out some of my cards the other day, and I found one of these that I had left over. I didn't realize I still had it, but so this is the part of the card that you would write on. You slide this out to write your message, and then you can slide it back in. So I just thought that was really fun. And so we're going to try that today using the Sweet as a Peach stamps and peach dies. So let me flip this camera around and I will show you what you need. Okay, so what we're going to be using is the Pale Papaya cardstock. This is cut 4 1/4 inches to 11 inches. Let me take this away. Here we go. And it has scored, I don't know if you can see this, there it is. So it's scored at 1 1/4 inches and then at 5 1/2 inches. So you can just fold it in half. And then we're going to fold this part forward, just like that. Okay, so then I have 2 pieces of the Euro Peach Designer Series paper. This one is cut 4 inches by 3 1/4 inches. This one is cut 4 inches by 1 inch. And then this is the sheet that's going to go on the inside. This is Balmy Blue, and it is cut 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. The ink colors that I think we're probably going to use today are Balmy Blue, Calypso Coral, Para Pizzazz, and we'll probably throw in some Tuxedo Black Memento ink. For the ribbon, we're going to use the Pale Papaya and white ribbon. This ribbon is, I think, 1/2 inch. Yes, it is 1/2 inch wide. We're also going to be using, well, I always use bone folder to crease my cardstock really nicely. And of course, you'll want a pair of scissors on hand. And I will be using Stampin' Dimensionals and probably just my liquid glue. I really like that glue. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's start. I'm starting by pulling my hair up out of my way. Okay, so now let's start by just adding the creases to the cardstock. I love card layouts like this because they're so easy to so did you see that? I don't think you could tell on the camera, but the edges were curling up a little bit on these corners. So I just used my bone folder to straighten that back out too. Straighten this crease. Okay, so layouts like this I think are super easy to change. Just change up with time. So this one was just a friend card. The one we're making today, I'm making mine a happy birthday card, but of course you can do something different with yours. So I'm going to start by gluing the polka dot sheet, I love polka dots, to the bottom part of the front of this card base. Then I'm going to take my 1 inch strip and glue it to the flap. And I want it to go like this, so it looks like I'm gluing it to the inside, but I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and do it this way so I can make sure that it's lining up with the other piece of Designer Series paper. Okay, So I'm going to cut my ribbon, and I'm just going to cut, what is this? About 5 1/4 inches. And I'm going to use glue dots. I didn't mention that when I was telling you what to grab. And I'm going to use 3. I'm going to put 1 on each end. I just realized you can't see what I'm doing. So I'm putting 1 glue dot on each end. And I also want a glue dot to go, in fact, I'm just going to put it on my card. So this is going to be covered up later. So if there's a little bump there from the glue dot, it won't matter. Oh, but it matters if I stick it to my card, doesn't it? Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to fold that over, stick it to the back. You could also just wrap your ribbon around and tie a knot on the front, but I just like to do it this way. Probably just because I've been doing it that way for a long time. No special reason. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and glue this flap down. Something else you can do. See, on this card, I used the ribbon and I just went all the way around the back, and I didn't add any glue to the side here. This is totally open. So that's another option. You can add your ribbon that way if you would like to. And that holds this piece down as well if you do it that way. Okay, but since I'm not doing it that way, I'm going to add just a small strip of glue pretty close to the edge. A little worried I got that too far in. So I'm just doing it really close to the edge on the 2 sides here. I'm going to mash that down. Make sure it sticks. Okay, so now I'm going to start stamping. So I have not even, I haven't even opened my stamp set to put my stamps on my blocks yet. So I want the big peach. And I want the leaves. So I'm using a B block and a C block for these. I know I'm going to be using the happy birthday in a minute. Try to get this on here straight. Looks good. And I think I'm going to use the flowers as well. Okay, I don't know why I put that one out. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab a scrap piece of paper that's big enough for the peach. I'm going to stamp the peach using Calypso Coral. And then I'm going to stamp the leaves using Pear Pizzazz. And I really just want one of these flowers, but I'm not sure yet if I want the biggest or the medium size or the smallest one. So I'm just going to ink up these 2 and put those on here as well. And then, oh, I just had an idea. I might add another thing. We'll see. Okay, so for this one, I just want to use the black ink, the Memento ink, and the Happy Birthday stamp. Thanks so much would work really great here too. This one right here, that would be perfect. Or of course you could grab another stamp set. So I'm just going to center this on the top. Actually, I'm going to offset it just a smidge because I want to put that flower on here in a minute. There we go. So that's going to slide right in here. I might have to trim this because I used glue instead of using the ribbon like I showed you a minute ago. So I might have made it just a little bit tight. So I'm going to take off just 1/8 of an inch from the side. And then I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off the other side. So it's very important before you get too far that you make sure your card is going to fit inside. And it does. There we go. That looks good. A little crooked. Let's see if I can straighten that out. There we go. Okay, and I know right now that looks a little off, but I think once we add the flower, it's going to be great. Okay, so now let's take our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and today I'm using the mini just because it fits on my desk a little bit better than the big one I have over on my counter. Let me get my plates. And then set my dies up. I'm just using a little piece of washi tape to hold them in place. Okay, so those turned out perfect. Put this up. I love that I have a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine now that is small enough to fit right here on my desk and not take up too much room. It's very, very handy. Set those dies to the side. And then I'm going to use just a small little dab of multi-purpose liquid glue on this leaf here. And attach the leaves to the peach. Whoop. Okay, I'm going to set that aside so it'll dry real quick. And then I'm going to use, what do you think? The little one or the big one? I think I'm going to use the big one. And again, I'm just going to stick it on with the glue. And I'm going to let this hang off the card just a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little. There we go. And then, you know, I said I was going to add something. I think I'm going to use the 21 to 2023 in color jewels. Whoops, I didn't get the jewels out. And I'm going to add just a small pale papaya jewel to the center of this flower. I just think it needs a little something, something. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Oh, I like that. Okay, so now I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of my peach. I'm going to use one there, one there, one there. I'm going to use a mini dimensional. I'm going to use 2 on the leaves. Mainly I'm just using 2 because I'd already grabbed one and the backing is coming off of this one. So there we go. So I want to go ahead and tuck this in here so that I can see how I want my peach placed, because I want the whole thing to look good together. So there's that. And you know what? I can't do that because I put dimensionals on the leaves. That is not going to work. So let me pull this down. I do want the leaves. I want the extra Stampin' Dimensionals to help hold the leaves on. So I'm going to turn it this way instead of having it the other way. That way the leaves are not sticking. Can you see that? The leaves are not sticking to the glue, but they do have a little extra stick to the top of the card here, so they're not going to come off. Because that little piece of multi-purpose glue, that's great, but it's just not a lot of glue to hold those leaves on in something that's going to be moving. Okay, so one more piece. I want to add a little bit of ribbon right here. Ooh, not that much. Okay. Our card is done now. What do you think? I think it turned out pretty good. So remember, if you do put any type of glue on the edges, you need to try to stay as close to the edge as possible, and you're probably going to have to trim your balmy blue piece down a little bit. But to avoid that, you could use your ribbon and just tie your ribbon around the whole thing, like I did on this card here. Okay, I also wanted to show you how we can decorate our envelope to match. So one thing I'm going to do is get that peach stamp out again. And I'm just going to stamp the peach. I'm not going to do the leaves or anything. I just want to do the peach right here on the front. And then on the flap of the envelope, this card designer series paper, it's not the same as this one. It's from the same package of paper. Ooh, I keep getting off camera. Okay. It's not the same piece of paper, but it's from the same package. But this one has peaches on it too. This one just has flowers and leaves. So this is 6 inches by 2 1/4 inches. And for this one, we're just going to use the liquid glue. And you want to get it pretty close to the edge. Lined up straight with the top of the envelope. Okay, and now you want to get your paper snips and just trim around the edge of this flap. The designer series paper, some of the designer series paper is on sale this month. And this You're a Peach designer series paper is one of the ones that is on sale. So if you're interested in this paper, click on over to my shop and you can get it at a discount this month. I'm also going to add the link to my blog post for this card. I'll be making that this evening. So I'll add the link down below so that you can see the instructions in print if that makes it easier for you. Also, it'll have the product list and the measurements on the blog post as well. So you'll have all of the links handy that you need. Thanks so much for watching this, and I hope you have a fantastic evening. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.